Happy Samhain, witches! I want to have a Samhain chat today, as it is Samhain and it's the blue moon. That was my attempt at singing. Anyways, I want to chat and then I want to do an activity. So wait around for that. But anyways, I want to start by talking a little bit about Samhain and what I do and stuff like that. So I do want to say that in my opinion, Samhain is not a day. Sure, this day feels so freaking witchy and it feels so magical and it feels very potent today, but this here is the season of the witch. And if you didn't know, I'm dressing up as the witch today. Hey, look at my little pointy hat. It's so cute. It does kind of make my head look big, but I don't care. Me and my Morticia hair. I'm like a glamour witch. I don't even care. It's a season. Samhain is a season. It's like starting September 30th is a family member birthday. So I'm not really feeling it because up until that point, I'm worrying about the birthday. So October 1st though, woo, I am in the mindset. I'm like Samhain this and Halloween this and costumes this and blah, blah, blah. And I get so freaking excited on around October 1st. And then that just begins the witchiness, right? The decorating, the black flame candles, the movies, the music. Ooh. I listen to a lot of Peter Gundry on YouTube. Like, he has so many playlists out, and his Vampire Masquerade, I'll leave it below. Please go check it out, because if you want some music to like dancing, like slow dancing, masquerade type music to play on Halloween to get you in that mindset, this shit will blow your mind. So go play Vampire Masquerade. It will put you in that Van Helsing dance scene where there's like these giant mirrors and these Cirque du Soleil, characters everywhere in this ballroom, and you're like, where are these ballrooms in my life now? Ugh. And those costumes, like, whatever. I just feel so witchy. There's just so much to do in the fall. But in terms of witchcraft, there's some things that I do. Like, there's some things that I do that like really make the season of the witch feel more potent overall, not just things that I do and then once Halloween gets here, it's kind of like it just kind of, the dust settles and it just feels very anticlimactic. So there's stuff that I do to make the whole season exciting that and to change it just from being one day, because for me that's not enough. So anyways, base level shit here. Samhain to me is a harvest festival. That's it. It is the last harvest. Now what I do is, because the veil is thin and there's some ancestor veneration, I've already made a video on that, but there's some ancestor work involved with this season as the veil is thin. But for me, I link the two. This is a harvest festival, and I like to link to my ancestors that would have done certain farming rituals, certain agricultural rituals this time of year. What would they have done to thank the earth for the harvest? What would their rituals have looked like? Kind of channel them a little bit in a way to see what their harvest rituals would be like. How would they bring on the rain, And what would they use? What would their equipment be? How would I be empathetic towards their methods? Like, when you really think about farm work, that shit's hard. And I want to think about those things too. And I want to be empathetic to my ancestors for the work that they did do, or would have done this time of year. So I write them letters. That tends to be the most powerful thing I do, is write them letters. Then I'll set them on, like, in my sacred space or on my altar. And then whatever full moon happens to be now, it happens to be tonight. It happens to be tonight, but the closest full moon after you've done the work would be when I burn those letters. And that as the veil is still thin, I burn those letters to send them out to the universe, send them out to the ancestors that have become yet again star seeds, or whatever the hell you want to say. So I send those letters out as a way to, like, for me, it kind of brings back the magic of this being a fire festival. I want to use a lot of fire this festival, and I want to. It links us to Beltane, and then it links us to it's linking me this year back to the Aries full moon that we just had on October 1st, which this month has been feeling extra witchy for that reason right there. But there's been a lot of powerful magic coming out of Lennan this month. So, but it links me back to that. So Samhain for me, I already knew that I was going to have a bonfire, because we have one every year. We call it a burn pit because it's just a burn pit in the ground and you just light a fire. And we tend to tell stories, like laugh and have, the adults will have some ale or something. And it's just a way for the family to get together and tell stories of the previous year. And not that my family is witchy, because they're really not, but it's a way for me to connect with the family, even if they're not, witchy. And it's a way for me, even after they leave, to do the ritual of cleansing afterwards, after the family leaves. And it's something that I've grown used to as a sort of ritual. So there's things like that. And they're not going to care if I throw some paper into the fire. Like, they're not going to really ask me about that. So, So that's technically something good that's coming out of the bonfire, is that I can throw my letters in there and nobody's none the wiser. Nobody cares. So that's something, that the bonfire, I'll have lots of candles going, but I don't really do anything with the candles except upon lighting them. Usually it's about an hour before sundown. I'll light some candles, like, with a good intention. Like, I'll go around the house, light a few candles, put forth the intention on the candle, and I'll usually only put the intention for those candles that I burn on Samhain for that day. It's not specifically a spell that will, like, continue or something. It's just to keep the magic flowing the whole day, keep me in a good mood, keep the positive vibes coming and going and flowing and things like that. So that's pretty much it with that. But the bonfire is the main thing that I do with fire and the ancestor letters. And the beginning of the day, I start out by journaling about how I want to journal about the veil being thin, being empathetic to my ancestors. Sometimes a bullet point will come out of my brain for the year, something that maybe that's been festering the whole year so far. Like, for this year, it's definitely been the pandemic and how that is impacting my life, how my ancestors would advise me to continue and things like that. I like automatic write about that for a little while. And that really helps to, it's almost like writing down resolutions, but it's the complete opposite of that. You just write down all the sludge, and in the magic of the fire later, that can be something that I put forth a spell as well, like, as a way to banish those thoughts and those doubts. So now, if you know the story of the jack-o'-lantern and how they were carved and then the candles were put in them and kept outside on the front stoop as a way to ward off evil spirits. Now, I don't believe anything evil is coming at me. I don't believe that that's how it would work. I believe that you invite these things in. I believe that the purpose of our human brains, there's a big emphasis in our brains about will and willpower. And I don't think anyone's gonna, anything malevolent, evil is just going to appear in my body and in my brain. I don't actually believe that that's how it works. I believe I would have to invite something in, and then it would, wreak havoc. But if I'm not inviting anything, then it can't come in. And my doors are shut. But I like that as a ritual, as a The jack-o'-lantern story I've always been drawn to because I love carving pumpkins. I don't even mind the goo inside. I love that part. So it has become something that I do with the children, of course, over the years. You know, we've gotten a little bit better. We've gotten a little bit, harder designs, and we've tried out some things. But I always use that time like it's a ritual time for me. For my pumpkin, because we tend to all have one that we carve on those carving nights, usually like the day before or the 2 days before Samhain, that we'll get the pumpkins and get them ready, and we'll have them burning for a few nights because they don't last any longer than that. But I very much use my time with carving in a ritual. I carve it with a specific intention too, as a form of home magic, a home protection on Samhain evening. Like we usually go away to do the trick-or-treating and things like that, or as a party that we leave, and so therefore on Samhain evening we're not even here. And so it's just a way for me to reinforce the barrier of the home those couple of days while the veil is the thinnest, basically, is how I would map that out. Even though it really contradicts what I just said about not inviting evil spirits in and whatnot. But anyways, I do very much ritualize carving pumpkins with the family. Of course, it's great. It's a great family activity, but I ritualize it for myself and put forth certain home protection spells and things on there. And that's something that I do every year. So therefore it's a ritual in and of itself, like something I look forward to. I think that the most famous tradition that I have this time of year is, I can't give out the name. It's like a family freaking secret or something. Like I'm not allowed, according to my great grandmother, who I knew briefly, we are not allowed to say the name. We're not allowed to say the name of this tea. So I'm just going to say autumn tea. And to be honest, it was kind of really witchy. My whole life I thought this. My great grandmother had this, I mean, it's even bigger than this camera, but it was a huge pot. And every year she would boil water on the stove and make this like nectar tea, I'll say, nectar tea. And she used to put all kinds of stuff in it, and it was so delicious. And what I learned over the years was that if you have, like, because this is cold and flu season, for those of us who live in the northern hemisphere, I'm guessing, it cures all that ails you. It's a cure-all. Sniffles, colds, head colds, flus, upset stomach, whatever. Drink a cup of this and you'll be good to go. And I thought that it had some, and my whole life I just thought that this is they should patent this shit, like my family should just put forth the recipe and get rich and famous off it. It doesn't work that way, but I always thought that. And then once my aunt, an aunt of mine, actually dubbed me the maker of it every year. She got a little bit too old. So I found that to be incredibly honor. It was an incredible honor to be dubbed the tea queen. Like, it would be my job to do it for the holidays. I would make it for the Thanksgiving gatherings and the Christmas gatherings. And I start on Samhain making this special brew. And I love doing it. I think that's why they dubbed me the tea queen, is because I love doing it. But over time, I started, when I would make the tea, because it takes a few hours, when I would make the tea, I started putting my own witchy magic into it. I started putting my own home protection. This is going to cure sicknesses. This is going to eradicate all of those bad germs. It also, because see, when you put the work into a spell, it intensifies the working. And I believe that with me doing the spell into this tea and setting forth this protecting, this protecting agent into it, it also helps me to remember, like when I have a cup or whatnot, it also helps me to remember to keep the counters wiped, keep antibacterial wipes for the doorknobs and hands washed and things like that. It helps me to remember that, which is also me generating the work for that spell. So it's just an all-around great thing that I do this starting this time of year. So that's my main tradition, my main ritual. And everything that I do is very witchy and magical this time of year, but those are just a few things that I wanted to chat about this beautiful day, this beautiful season. Now, as this is the blue moon, and it happens to be Samhain, I want to do an activity. Now, this is going to sound crazy because I'm not actually using the things that I would use this time of year. Usually, to pay homage to this being the last harvest festival, I would make lots of goodies to hand out to like neighbors and things and family that have in-season fruits and nuts. That's a way for me to give back and to use the harvest, to use the bounty of the year in a positive way and a give back way. And I usually make like nut bread. There's some things with plums. Like there's this dish with plums that I do that's just fantastic. But knowing what's in season and utilizing those this season is a very good way to pay homage to the harvest of this being the harvest, of this being the harvest time of year. But I'm not doing that today. I'm just gonna make some simple blue moon cookies. Every blue moon, because it only happens every blue moon, my kids, now that they've gotten a little bit older, they recognize when there's going to be a blue moon, and they always look forward to my blue moon cookies. They're just basically sugar cookies that are blue. I food color them in blue, and then I cut them in the shape of a crescent moon with a cookie cutter. It's as simple as that. So I'm going to hyperlapse that video while I overtalk, I guess you could say, about the actual full moon and how I'm linking back to the Aries full moon. And if you want to check that video out, I'll leave it in the cards for you. So I'll catch you on the flip side.
Okay, so the full moon is in Taurus tonight. And I have been impulsive this month. If you go back and watch my other video on October the 1st, I was talking about being impulsive because of the Aries full moon we had at the beginning of the month. And I've taken some opportunities by the horns, you could say. I have been consciously trying to be impulsive, a little bit more spontaneous this month, and I have taken some more day trips. My mom and I like to get out and go antiquing this time of the year. So I have tried to be a little bit more spontaneous because of the Aries full moon. And as I said, I'm going to mirror this. Now, as Taurus is fixed, I feel that energy a little more. There's more of a stability with the fixed signs, and Taurus is a fixed earth sign. So some of the times I have been impulsive, but I've also taken into account my grounding. It was kind of demanding me in moments to get back to self in terms of healing, because when I would go out, because I'm so reclusive in just by design in my life, that I find that I need that time, that grounding, to really get back to self so I don't overwhelm my senses. This moon feels very responsive in a way, addressing those times over the last month that felt kind of negative. It feels I've been responding to that these last couple of days. Now with Aries at the helm of the month, so to speak, all that fire energy, I noticed looking back that there have been more disagreements, a few incidences that seem to be fueled by something else, I'll say, about all that fire energy. And by being consciously aware of the Taurus full moon that was tonight, I had tried to work on techniques in communication a little bit better, and also to remind myself that with the fire full moon and the fixed earth sign that would be tonight, I was trying to map out how I could communicate better, how I could relax in a situation, an incident, an argument better. And that's why I pull in Taurus. It seemed like this fixed earth sign it was allowing me to set better intentions for myself in those times of high fire energy. So with it in the back of my mind, I was able to stay steady and not necessarily in the moments and then, afterwards heal. So there's that. This season is all about the coziness. The season of the witch, Samhain, all of that. As this is a Taurus full moon, I really feel like getting all my blankets out and getting cozy, soft textures. And in honor of Taurus, like I was saying, I want to wrap myself in the pleasures of home. I think that it's important to do that at this time of year anyway. The holidays coming up, it's all about, family time. And this is a really good opportunity at Samhain to really get cozy with your home. Decorate your home for the fall, whatever it is, whatever cozy looks like to you. And as I mirror back, and as I'm looking back to the Aries full moon, I'm looking at what I've done and what I did that may not have worked out. Working that banishing magic for the next days to come, that has been helping me to be consciously aware of those things as well, because as the full moon, I'm letting go of the things that didn't serve me. Like I was saying about the fire energy and the impulsiveness and the spontaneity was really worked out really well, along with my grounding. But then also there were some things in an argument when I would get too fiery that I can look back on and think, okay, well, I handled that wrong. Let me write and journal about that. And so I was really able to work. I'm going to work in tonight some full moon magic to banish the things that didn't really work. So those are just a few things that I'm going to be doing tonight. And like I said, I really have been consciously aware of 2 full moons this month and how they're mirroring each other. And I did consciously try to use the fire of the Aries full moon at the beginning. And then if you watch my mindsight video, which is a video I do every month on the new moon, I talked a little in that video about the new moon and how I used it kind of like the point of a triangle mirroring back to the moons as well. So I've been doing a lot of work, and I feel like this day, this Samhain day, this magical witchy day, is allowing me I have more to banish and let go of this month than I have in the last couple. And I feel very blessed that I was really able to use my power and use my magic with the full moons, and it's worked. I hope that it works out after today, but I'm going to be setting some good intentions and banishing some stuff and letting some things go. And I hope that wherever you are at, even if you were celebrating Beltane, I hope that this is a blessed holiday and festival for you. Enjoy this season of the witch. Much love.